Ever walked into a room and felt an instant wave of negativity, like no matter what you do, someone's energy just pulls you down? We've all been there, surrounded by toxic people. But what if I told you there's an ancient philosophy that holds the key to dealing with them? Let's dive into Stoicism. Toxic people, they're unavoidable. Whether at work, in our social circles, or even within our families, their negativity seeps into our lives. And it can feel overwhelming, right? The subtle digs, the draining conversations, the constant pessimism, it all builds up. But what if I told you that, thousands of years ago, Stoic philosophers already mastered the art of dealing with these energy-draining individuals? In today's video, we're going to explore how the timeless wisdom of Stoicism can help you not just survive, but thrive, even when surrounded by negativity. How do you deal with toxic people right now? Let us know in the comments. Toxic behavior can leave a lasting impact on our mental health and relationships. Think about it. How often do we find ourselves replaying a conversation with a toxic person, wondering what we could have said or done differently? Whether it's gossip, manipulation, or constant negativity, toxic behaviors have the power to slowly erode our sense of peace and stability. Have you noticed how just one negative interaction can affect your whole day? Why do we let that happen? And it's not just about the obvious toxic behaviors like direct insults or manipulation. Sometimes it's the subtle actions that eat away at us. The backhanded compliments, the passive-aggressive remarks, or even someone's constant complaining. Do you find that certain people, even without saying much, drain your energy just by being around them? Share your thoughts. Who's that person for you? These interactions trigger stress, frustration, and sometimes even self-doubt. It's easy to fall into a cycle of overthinking. But here's the thing. The Stoics, ancient philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, taught that we don't have to let these external influences control our inner peace. Have you ever wondered why toxic people seem to have such power over your emotions? Why do their actions linger in your mind when they shouldn't? What if you could learn how to stop their words from affecting you? The Stoics have a simple yet profound answer. You are giving them that power. The Stoic approach is to focus only on what you can control. It might sound easy, but think about how often we stress over someone's toxic attitude when, in reality, we can't change how they behave. You can't change someone who is always negative or manipulative, but you can change how you let it affect you. Have you ever considered that perhaps the key to dealing with toxic people isn't changing them, but changing your mindset? One of the most fundamental teachings in Stoicism is understanding the distinction between what's in our control and what isn't. Toxic people, not in your control, but your response to them, entirely in your control. Let that sink in for a moment. How much of your emotional energy is being spent on things outside your control? What would happen if you shifted that energy toward controlling only your reactions and emotions? Imagine how much lighter you'd feel if you stopped giving toxic people access to your inner peace. What if the power lies in your ability to detach, to choose not to engage emotionally? What situations have you faced recently that made you think, I wish I could control how I react better? Share it in the comments. We want to hear your experiences. By constantly asking yourself, is this in my control? You begin to make wiser decisions about where to invest your emotional energy. Think about this next time you're faced with negativity. Does it really serve you to engage in the drama? Or would it be better to step back, breathe, and choose a more stoic response? Now, let's get to the heart of this. How do we actually shift our mindset when dealing with toxic people? One of the most powerful Stoic principles comes from Epictetus, who said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is a game changer when dealing with toxic people. Think about it. What if you could reframe your entire approach to their negativity? Instead of reacting emotionally, you could choose how to respond logically. What difference would that make in your life? Imagine this scenario. You have a toxic coworker who constantly undermines you or tries to make you look bad. Usually you'd be irritated or upset for the rest of the day, maybe even losing sleep over it. But what if, instead, you mentally stepped back and reminded yourself, I can't control what they say, but I can control how I respond? Doesn't that sound empowering? What would happen if you could apply this to your life? How would your interactions change if you approached them from a place of calm, detached rationality rather than emotional turmoil? Let us know what strategies have worked for you. The Stoics encourage us to adopt a mindset of emotional distance from others' negative behaviors. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and a leading Stoic, wrote in his Meditations that people act according to their nature, and it's our responsibility to act according to ours. What if you saw toxic behavior not as a personal attack, but simply as a reflection of who that person is? How freeing would it be to realize that their negativity isn't about you at all? By rethinking how you respond, you can stop giving toxic people power over you. When you stop reacting with anger or frustration, you start reclaiming your peace. This is where the Stoic approach becomes transformational. What would happen if every toxic interaction became an opportunity for you to practice patience, resilience, and wisdom? Think of the emotional strength you could build by viewing these challenges as growth opportunities instead of obstacles. Have you tried seeing difficult people as teachers, helping you grow emotionally? How would your life change if you embraced that perspective? So how do we apply these Stoic principles in our everyday lives? Dealing with toxic people becomes manageable when you adopt specific practical strategies inspired by Stoicism. Let's break it down into 3 steps. Set boundaries. Stoics believed in protecting their inner space. If someone's negativity is constantly invading your life, it's essential to set boundaries, emotional, mental, and even physical. What would happen if you made it clear where your limits are? Have you set boundaries before, and how did it affect your peace of mind? Let us know in the comments. Boundaries aren't about cutting people off entirely, but about knowing where your peace begins and ends. Have you ever felt guilty for setting a boundary with someone? Stoic philosophy encourages you to let go of that guilt, because protecting your mental space is vital to maintaining your inner peace. How would your relationships change if you confidently set boundaries? Practice negative visualization. Here's a powerful tool from the Stoics that might surprise you: premeditatio malorum, or imagining the worst-case scenario. Before encountering a toxic person, mentally prepare for how they might act. By doing this, you're less likely to be caught off guard or triggered. You've already envisioned their behavior and prepared your mind to stay calm and collected. Have you ever tried this approach before a difficult interaction? How did it help? Picture walking into each interaction already at peace, no matter what the other person does. Doesn't that make you feel more in control? Focus on your own growth. Instead of wasting emotional energy trying to change a toxic person, turn that energy inward. The Stoics emphasized self-improvement above all. Ask yourself, how can I grow from this experience? Each interaction with a toxic person becomes an opportunity to practice patience, resilience, and inner strength. How would your life change if you approached every difficult interaction as a chance to better yourself rather than focusing on the negativity of others? Let's recap what we've covered. Toxic people are unavoidable, but they don't have to poison your peace. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control others, we can control our reactions to them. Remember Epictetus's words, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By setting boundaries, practicing negative visualization and focusing on your own growth, you reclaim your emotional well-being. Imagine a life where toxic people no longer dictate your mood or happiness. Isn't that a freeing thought? Stoicism offers you the tools to achieve this freedom, where your peace of mind is no longer determined by someone else's bad behavior. Next time you're faced with a toxic interaction, pause, breathe, and ask yourself, what's in my control? That's the key to emotional resilience. How do you plan to use Stoic wisdom in your life going forward? Now it's your turn. Have you ever dealt with a toxic person? How did you handle it? Share your experience in the comments below, and let's start a conversation. And if you're interested in learning more about Stoicism and emotional resilience, don't forget to check out our next video. Until next time, stay strong, stay Stoic.